control. Do not for PRVC, because that's going to be set in alarms. This is in pressure control. It's generally going to be the PINSP. Like people are always like, where do I set the pressure? It's the inspiratory pressure setting, wherever you see it in the settings part of it, but same place where you set the rate. There'll be no tidal volume to set, only a pressure. And it's not pressure support. Pressure control and pressure support are two different things. Support is supporting a spontaneous breath. Keep the S's together. Support is, and it's only in SI and V. So see, we got all the S's. Pressure support for a spontaneous breath in SI and V. Pressure control is a mode. So we have, of course, two different types of vents. Those that are PEEP compensated and those that are not PEEP compensated. Not PEEP compensated is the LTV that we have and the Draeger. Yep, both of them. PEEP compensated, PV, servo, G5. And I'll show you how to know if your vent's PEEP compensated or not anyways, because there's more vents than just these. So what you have to remember is your pressure control setting plus your PEEP equal the PIP or the P-peak or whatever you want to call it. The peak inspiratory pressure. So these two, are in the settings, and this is in the patient, right? Patient parameters. So if I have a pressure control of 15 and PEEP of 5, this needs to be 20. Is the pressure control number. So if you think about it, and I'm going to draw this one over here because this is where it's going to apply right now. So here I have pressure control is 15, PEEP equals 5. Everybody with me so far?
Okay.
So if I've got PEEP of 5, then my baseline's here, right? This is PEEP of 5. And if I want pressure control of 15, it needs to be 15 above this, right? Because this is the baseline. So this 5 plus 15 would put you up at the 20 for your PIP. So 5 of PEEP plus 15 of pressure control would equal a PIP of 20. So on these ventilators, you see the words above PEEP. You might not always see that, but it's gonna say above PEEP for the pressure control. So how much above PEEP do you want your pressure control setting to be?
Or 5?
So 15. If the doctor orders 15, I want it 15 above the baseline. Because I don't want 15 from here. If I did 15 from here, that would only be 15, which means you only had pressure control of 10, right? So you always have to take into consideration your PEEP. So that's why I said pressure control plus PEEP should equal the PIP. So on these 3 ventilators, or any vent that's PEEP compensated, this is the easy one. I'm gonna get to the complicated one. It's not complicated, it's just different. You just set whatever number the doctor ordered, because it's gonna automatically take into consideration the PEEP. So on these, if your ventilator's PEEP compensated, which are these, you set your pressure control at whatever you want it at.
So it'd be 5 plus pressure control.
It could be ordered, it could be part of your protocol, whatever. If you want pressure control of 15 on these 3 vents, you just put 15 in. I know you're like, why are you telling me this? Because these are different. Not PEEP compensated is different. So these are easy. Whatever number you want, it's what you put in. Also, just to cover it, people ask me, how do I know where to set my PIP? Anyways, usually we start at 15 to 20 and we just adjust it to get the volume that we want. That's the general pressure that most adult patients need. So if I want to be in pressure control and I know my volume is between 300 and 500, I'm going to start at 15, and if I get between 300, maybe 400, I'm good. If not, I'm going to tweak it a little bit. There's a formula, but you don't need to know it. So we're not going to put it in our brain. Just start at 15 to 20 and adjust. Okay, let's talk about our friends, the Draeger and the LTV. Okay, so we still have our 5 of PEEP. Okay. And we still want pressure control of 15. When I say a ventilator is not PEEP compensated, what I mean is to the ventilator, it doesn't understand that 5 of PEEP is there. So it's starting from 0 instead of 5 when you set your pressure control setting. That's what I mean by not PEEP compensated. So in that situation, so if I say my pressure control needs to be 15 and I dial it in at 15 just like I did over there, you're only gonna get 10. Because this doesn't exist to that ventilator. Does this make sense to everybody so far? So for your pressure control setting on not PEEP compensated vents, you have to add the 5, whatever amount of PEEP into your pressure control. So in this one, I would have to set my pressure control at 20. So if I set my pressure control at only 15, it's gonna go to 15 and there's 5 of PEEP on there, that means they would only get 10. So in a not PEEP compensated ventilator, you have to add the pressure control that you want plus the PEEP, and that will equal your pressure control setting. So on these ventilators, the PINSP setting equals pressure control plus PEEP. So here I would need to set it at 20. So if you did it this way, what would your peak inspiratory pressure read? No, if you did it this way, it would read 15. And then you would have 5 of PEEP, which would mean you'd only be getting 10. Does this make sense to everybody? So if you're,
Because you have to subtract.
so the way you can double check, which is why you need to understand this. If you're on a ventilator and your peak inspiratory pressure does not equal the pressure control number plus the PEEP, it's not set right. So if you have pressure control of 15 and PEEP of 5, no matter what ventilator you're on, the PIP should equal 20. So if it only equals 15, it means you have to add the PEEP in to get it to 20. If it's at 25 plus 5, you would have to make it 30. If the PEEP is 8 and you want pressure control at 15, you would need to set it at 23. Because you're just gonna add the two together. And then that's where the actual setting is. Everybody with me? Is there anybody who doesn't understand? Because if you don't set this right, you'll get dinged. And it's very important, not just for testing, it's important for your patient. These because people are like, oh, I can do it for the test.
I was worried about test first, patients.
No, the patients now.
Can you say that one more time? So to set the pressure setting, if it was 15 with the pressure control is 15 and the PEEP is 5.
You're gonna put the pressure control setting